So we've got some excellent news here tonight, and it's really not news at all. This is something that's been speculated and talked about in the community, and a lot of people have actually mentioned these exact dates. But until I had something concrete, until I saw something from Omori or from Danmachi Anime or from the production company or whatever, I wasn't going to say anything because I don't want to give people false hope because things fall through all the time. We've heard time and time again that certain things are happening and then they just don't. So I waited and I waited and waited, but we finally have the news. Today, Danmachi is coming back in February. February the 8th to be exact. So we are right on the cusp of the return of Danmachi. It is coming really soon. Now, the question I'm sure a lot of you have, and the question that I personally kind of was thinking about the whole time, when we initially got the notification that this was that Danmachi was coming back and it was going to be happening, they said spring. And in my book, personally, February is not spring. But you got to remember everything's translated, and you never know. Plus, when they have to cancel one of these series, there's a lot of gloom and doom involved in this. They have to reschedule a whole bunch of stuff. They have to schedule all these things around other shows that are running. And a lot of the times, these are booked 6 months to a year or more out in advance. So swapping schedules like this is not easy when it comes to, anime production. It happens, but it's a rare exception to the rule. So knowing that this is going on, knowing all this, when they said spring, I took them at face value. I even said I'm March at the earliest, probably April or May. I believe April is the actual spring anime season. So that's what I was thinking. I thought we'd have a much longer wait. But it is confirmed right here. They have all the dates and everything right here. 12/8 will be episode 13. It looks like episode 12. Looks like a week later we will get episode 13. Now, there's a bunch of different TV stations here where it'll be airing. Some of these are pay stations. Some of these are not. Just anime is weird in that regard. It's not as easy as with us where we pop on Crunchyroll or High Dive or whatever. It's a whole other kettle of fish over there. But nevertheless, yes, it is coming back 12 and 13. Now, is this going to wrap up in 2 episodes? I thought initially they said 15 episodes, right? So this might just be the next 2 episodes, and then there's maybe 2 more episodes coming after this. Because initially my understanding was this was a 15-episode season. So it leaves me wondering, where are our final 2 episodes? Maybe they just haven't found a way to shoehorn them in. Maybe they have to wait a little bit longer on those. Let's be completely fair here. JC Staff, not the best studio. Okay? I adore the anime. And I think they do what they do for reasons. I'm not going to trash talk the studio. I'm just going to say they have a lot of old school ways. And I say it every time we do a review on it, but that's what it is. They're very old school ways of doing things. They're not really up to the modern standard. You really can't compare a studio like MAPPA to a studio like JC Staff. It just is not a thing. For those of you that follow my other channel, where we've been talking about Dragon Ball Daima, Toei is, funny enough, one of those studios that really keeps up with the times. And I'm really disappointed every time that JC Staff just can't seem to pull that out. It just, every anime that we've been watching for the past 5 years that's done by JC Staff feels very dated. Go back and watch Wistoria with the 2 studios that were working on that. In fact, MAPPA did a little work on that. Phenomenal anime. Another story by Omori. I loved it. So I kind of feel like this is JC Staff finally admitting that they needed to up their game. They need to bring their A game. They need to bring everything possible for these last 4 episodes, or 2 that we know of right now. My understanding was this supposed to be 15 episodes. I could be wrong on that. That was my understanding going into this. I think there probably will be 2 more episodes after this. Hard to say. I don't see how they're going to wrap this up in 2 episodes, but that's me. Also, shame on me. I have not read book 17. I think this was going to take a while. I restarted the series. and started back from book one, trying to basically get back to my roots, so to speak. So what we're gonna do, obviously, when these drop, we'll cover it. Being that I'm kind of rereading the whole series, because I never read books 1, 2. I picked up with book 8 and then read forward to 16. So I'm kind of catching back up with the anime and all that stuff. So basically, what we can do is we can go back in and talk about missing lore and things like that. Because I know there's already, like, halfway through book 1, there's, I won't say changes, but book 1's a little more in depth with the background and the history. And then in book 15, you get so much more lore about Bell and when he first came to town and all that kind of good stuff. So we will talk about all of that. This is not the end of the road. I have a lot of just blanket Danmachi content coming for you guys, because that seems to be what you guys want. I've been watching the numbers. I've been listening. The manga reviews, the episode reviews, and all that seem to do really well. So we're going to start doing some light novel content and things like that. And it is going to be super fun. I'm not giving up on Omori, on Dan Mimo or Don Crow. We're not giving up on Don Crow. In fact, I'm kind of running something in the background right now for it. I know I've been a bit stinky on the game, but the reality is I want better. And it's the same thing with JC Staff. It's not trying to tear down these studios, these production companies and all that. We want better. And there's nothing wrong with wanting better. And this right here is like our ugly Sonic moment, right? That's kind of the way I look at this. And by that, let me just clarify. By that, I solely mean that we as a community want more. Not we aren't here to tear down. We're here to build up. And if we have to wait a few weeks, I was totally cool with that. Like, if we had to wait a few weeks for JC Staff to give us the best of the best of the best, to give us what we saw at the end of Season 3 and, like, the middle part of Season 4 when it was really, like, at its precipice, I'm perfectly fine with that. Give me your best. JC Staff, show me what you can do. Impress me. I want to look at an episode and go, it is a 10 out of 10 or better, because I am not opposed to giving extra credit by any stretch of the imagination. Anyone who watched my Wistoria reviews knows full well I am more than willing to give extra credit where it's due. But wanting more is not a bad thing. And I think this bodes extremely well for the end of this season. So I'm excited. February 8th, everything will be dropping. Everything will be happening. I know we've known that for a little bit of time, but the reality is I didn't want to say anything until I saw it firsthand, directly from the source. I know it goes against all the leaks, it goes against all this. I know several other people have talked about it, but me personally, I want to see it in writing, because I don't have like an in at these studios. I'm not on that level, right? I only want to bring you guys facts. Now that we have it, now that it's here, we can talk about it. And I probably should have done a video on it yesterday, but nevertheless, guys, February the 8th. Stay tuned. Danmachi's coming back, and I sincerely believe it is going to be better than ever. I'm stoked. Stay tuned.